Hello, everyone, and good morning. Welcome to Monday. It is June 8th. It is the start of the second week of June. Hard to believe. My name is Kelly Baltzell. I'm the CEO and owner of Beyond Indigo Pets. Today, we have Miss Kate Matthews back, and she's going to be educating us on the world of reviews because those have started again. So kind of our news item is, hey, reviews have started again. But what do you do about it? And kind of like right now, especially, the world is a little bit of a boiling pot. It's a little uneasy. There's a lot of emotions out there. So reviews are definitely something that need to be watched. So Kate, take it away and give us some education and tips of what we should be doing.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me back. So yeah, like you said, reviews have come back in late March, early April. Google My Business made the decision to suspend those, kind of in response essentially to a quell of one-star reviews that kind of started to surge out through businesses that folks were either displeased one way or another with these businesses' response to COVID-19 in the beginning. And just the way that this onslaught was coming on, coupled with, of course, Google pulling back, a lot of their in-office efforts as well, they just kind of put a pin in that, right?
Right.
Which makes sense because with this whole notion of business as usual kind of thrown out the window and into that whole dumpster fire of this year, it really was kind of a blessing in disguise for a lot of businesses, especially while the essential services were focused on trying to keep up with what they, were providing. And specifically in our industry, care was, everything was locked down so tightly and you had so many shifts rotating in and out to try to keep people safe. Nobody really had time for that anyway, right?
I mean, you were just getting one foot in front of the other each day. Yeah.
Right. Barely getting along. But as the states have kind of started to phase out those restrictions and allow businesses to reopen, Google has lifted their quarantine on reviews, and that's kind of leaving everybody with a whole big pile of reviews because Google was taking the reviews. People could leave them. They just weren't publishing, right?
Right.
So all of a sudden, you're getting this onslaught of reviews that are hitting your Google My Business page, in addition to new people leaving reviews. And this has also been a time where a lot of folks have had time to just leave reviews in general, like that maybe don't normally do that, or they've got that second to voice their opinion, and quite often emotions are heightened, and it's going to tend to be on one side of the spectrum or the other, right?
Yeah.
Either love it or hate it. Like we've been riding this seesaw for so many months now. But here we are, all of a sudden, there's this whole pile of reviews, everything is coming in, there's time to open up, and we've got to get those addressed. I mean, it's really important. We have believed for a long time here at Beyond Indigo that online reviews, whether they're good or they're bad, present veterinarians with a really unique opportunity to connect with clients outside of the exam room, and potential clients too, because I mean, this is how we're searching stuff out, right?
Right.
And especially looking at the new client notion right now, where you do still have some practices that are closed and people are trying to find where they can get their pet in. Everything's kind of I don't want to say it's disorganized or jumbled, but everything's up in the air enough right now that it can fall in all sorts of different patterns, right?
Fluid, very fluid is what we're saying, and it's by geography too. So because people shut down, the unrest and protests in the world.
Which adds a whole new dimension to this too right now that was there even, 3-4 weeks ago, right?
Right. So you have some slides and tips to show us, which means you and I are going to disappear from the screen. But
yeah, absolutely.
People hear you. It's just so that people can see the screen. We disappear. So
right. So let's start first at looking at good reviews, because who doesn't love good reviews, right? It's really interesting though, because when I monitor these client reviews over the years, I see that the responses for good reviews are actually the ones that are like the furthest and farthest between, right? Like a lot of folks will jump on the negative reviews, and for good reasons, but a lot of folks don't pause to at least say thank you. And leaving those positive reviews unanswered is kind of like leaving your lowest hanging fruit to just rot on the vine. So now more than ever, this is the great time to respond to those good reviews. It shows your reviewer that you value their business, the time it took them to leave the review, and it shows potential customers the same, that you value your client's support and that rapport between you, and that you're committed to building it. So like I said, at the very least, always thank the reviewer for the review. If possible, meaning if it's more than just a, hey, cool, good work, or I love these guys, or great care, try to pare it back or include references to something that they're mentioning in their review, just those little touch points. And then, if you can really take that touch point the extra mile, and kind of, especially like if you know the client, you can really refer back to knowing what visit they're talking about, or this issue or that issue. So you might end up with a review that reads like, as I've got here, we've been bringing Jake in to see Dr. Doolittle for 3 years and have always loved the care and service we received. We appreciate the positive attitude and the commitment to your safety and providing curbside drop-off. We had to bring Jake in for urgent care during the COVID-19 pandemic. So your reply might look like this. Thank you for your kind words of support, both for our clinic and our safety protocols during everything that's happening. We're always happy to see Jake and you when you're in the office, and hope Jake's paw is feeling better. Please let us know if you need anything else. We hope to see you both soon, right? It's this lovely conversational, just like if somebody was saying thank you, you would say you're welcome. And, keeping it personal, when you can, when it makes sense, but, always just make sure that you say thank you, because I don't know, if I got this kind of a response, I'd feel valued and appreciated as a client, and it would, kind of increase that loyalty. And if I was a potential client, I'd be really, I think, kind of smitten with this connection that's communicated here, and know that this is somebody who I could, build that relationship with as a family doctor. So I don't know, I think that there's a lot of power in the positive review. But there's even more so in the bad reviews. We've got this next slide. It is natural to make you want to cringe a little bit. I mean, what you're doing is personal, and it's, no matter how well we can receive constructive criticism, still can sting a little bit, especially again when we are absolutely, running on empty and the world is emotional and all of that. Same thing can come across for you. So, but these bad reviews can actually be public relations gold. And that's an odd notion, but it's seriously true. It's kind of this unique opportunity to show both the reviewer, but also anybody else who's reading the review, your commitment to the patients and the clients and the professionalism, and that you can keep a cool head and an open mind when things aren't necessarily going the way you want them to. So whether the review is focusing on something that happened during a visit, or a response to how your business has practiced or handled this COVID thing, or whatever might be happening in the world, this review is an opportunity to connect with the reviewer and the wider audience. So again, it seems counterintuitive, but thank the reviewer for the time it took to leave the review, for bringing this to their attention. Not only is it, again, it's just a polite customer service thing to do, but it can kind of disarm the reviewer, disarm them of their angst and whatever emotional thing they're going on. And it showcases your ability to be compassionate to somebody else's situation, which you want in a veterinarian, right? Mention a detail or two if you can, if it makes sense to do so. It will also help the reviewer feeling heard, which is often all a lot of times folks want, is to feel heard in these situations. And then you're going to want to ask to take it offline. I mean, regardless of what's happening, and almost because of what's happening even more, the online review forum is not the place to engage an unhappy client. Those exchanges can become heated, long-winded, exacerbated, and really not show off your best self. Definitely probably not the reviewer either. It leaves you vulnerable, And it can also kind of demonstrate a lack of professionalism too, to attack these folks, in this public forum. So, there's kind of a standard thing that I look at, this best practice of, thank you for taking the time to bring your concerns to our attention. This is, they're doing you a service, right? By letting you know. We understand that this is a sensitive issue and would like the opportunity to discuss your experience one-on-one. Please feel free to call our clinic, provide the phone number, during regular business hours to speak with our practice manager or owner or whoever about your concerns. And we hope to hear from you, and thank you for your time. And this, when I say here, this can be a sensitive issue. And that really could be any issue, whether or not they don't like the protocols you do or do not have in place for curbside, whether or not they are upset about how a surgery was handled, or, any range of things. It's obviously something that was a sensitive topic to them, and you are, relaying that that. But, that's kind of the conciseness that you need there. But once you have left this response and you have encouraged this person to call your clinic and talk to you, you really need to let your front desk staff know, and either the practice manager, the owner, whoever, if you're the one leaving the review on these people's behalf, you need to let them know to look for a call from this person, so that the staff is prepared to be like, oh yeah, we've been expecting your call, let us put you right through, and to actually be able to get someone on the line. Because, especially when you're already a little angry or worked up, nothing can add fuel to the fire quite like, leaving a voicemail in the vortex of voicemail, basically, right? If the conversation goes well, you could also consider asking the reviewer to revise the original review, or to leave an additional comment talking about how it worked out. They may not, but it doesn't hurt to ask, because at least, especially, it could, indicate a follow-up there. Likewise, you could follow up as well if they don't. Something simple: thank you for reaching out to us. I hope that call took care of your concerns, and let us know if you have any further issues. So, yeah, really, at the end of the day, this is, a solid point of customer service. But I think there's a few other considerations with reviews that a lot of people don't think about, and that is, they are really fantastic learning tool for you to be able to fine-tune your business and look at what's working and what's not. So you want to pull from both your negative reviews and your positive reviews on this, right?
Yeah.
Like, you see a trend about the curbside process being confusing. It might not be the issue with the curbside, like, that it's happening in the first place, but maybe there's part of your protocol that is a little convoluted or more complicated than it needs to be. And you can take that and adjust it for the next time you might need it. Even if you're not doing it now, you may need to again in 6 months. It takes an opportunity to, fine tune some of that stuff. If you're getting reviews that are calling out or praising your staff or your wait time, you can use that to your advantage to adjust hiring practices. Maybe you need more doctors, or maybe your front staff is a little snarky, and so you can look at making sure you get someone who is, sweet and awesome, or, however that works on both sides of the equation, right? Like, not all customer service is bad by a long shot. But, there's also opportunities for blogging. If you've got a lot of reviews that talk about costs of service, or I don't know how to do this, you can blog. We've done a lot of blogs about understanding the cost of veterinary care, what goes in it, what's behind it. You can educate clients on payment options or long-term solutions for budgeting for veterinary care over your pet's life. Like, you can really see some of the pain points and some of the success points in what you're doing through these reviews, and make these adjustments accordingly, and fine tune, and also it'll help people feel heard. Wow, I made that review, left that review, and it made a difference. The next time I went in, we were right back there as soon as we signed the paperwork and walked in the door. That feeling, especially I think right now, that you can affect change in some small way, even if it's just something that happens for 5 minutes in your veterinary office. I think that's a little something we can all hold on to right now. So
there's so much. And I mean, you just brought up so many good points that I'm going to summarize. And then we'll talk about the last little piece here. But the one is, and more so in this time, is you need to communicate. And communication also happens on reviews. And leave an opportunity to communicate and leave it dangling out there, because you do not understand or know everybody's personal situation and how much communication or connections they have with others, right? So you just need to assume your world is their world.
Right, that's very true.
And one of my personal pet peeves is with reviews is when people go to leave, when a business goes to leave a thank you on a positive review, they just say thank you. And then they say thank you to the next one. And they say, and so you kind of get as a reviewer or a viewer of the reviews, like, yeah, they don't care. They're just kind of like throwing something out. Whereas that, again, if you make that personal connection with somebody, that may have been their communication for the day. You don't know, right?
Right. Absolutely. To know that you have been remembered, that's what I'm saying. Like, sometimes there are definitely times that you read these reviews and you're like, oh, this is so-and-so. And oh, that's Snickers mom that left that. And if you've got that knowledge and you can, parlay that back into that response, again, like that's that connection point. It's that touchstone. And that little bit of feeling, I mean, it's you putting some good out into the world, but it's also, like you said, it's giving them, oh, they remember me, oh, they can, especially hey, Susan, thanks for bringing in Snickers, and they're like, oh, wow, there's just those little things that I think we all, I mean, even in the best of times, that make us feel good and build that sense of community, right? Which is, I think, a very important part of what needs to be happening and prioritized.
Now, before this, you and I were talking about kind of how we kind of wanted to close out today's show.
Mm-hmm.
And kind of our marketing to self segment, because, okay, the positive needs to be addressed, it needs to be worked, it needs to be considered, you need to put effort into it. But you personally, as a business owner, with like the negative reviews, depending on your own emotions and what's hitting you in your own personal life, and like, I keep saying, we all wake up and our bandwidth for the day is like 0 to 10, right?
Absolutely.
With COVID, I said most days people started at a 5, and now with the recent turmoil and confusion, and depending on what geographical location you are, I'm gonna say start at an 8. So that means your bandwidth is 2 points.
Right.
9 and 10
before a snap, right?
Yeah, before you're done, right? Like we don't get a 0 to 10 anymore. We get 2.
Right.
So if you're reading a review and you're negative and you may have not had sleep and you may not be sleeping well, because a lot of people aren't, or you may not be eating well because you're stressed, you're not starting off on your best foot, right? So if you read a review and it impacts you negatively and it takes you down, or like Kim Pope Robinson said last week, if it was a sinker and it sinks your boat, take that seriously. Don't just shove it underneath the rug, so to speak, your internal rug. Right. Go get help, right? Or talk to somebody, or use somebody like us, where we'll answer it for you and you don't have to get entangled, right?
And that's a really good point, because I think that, like you're saying, you sit down, and especially where these are coming in such big waves, if you're going to sit down and be like, I'm going to do reviews for a while, and you sit down and, you've got good ones. I mean, it generally is a balance, right? But some days are more positive, and sometimes they're going to be more negative. And if you start getting into those negative reviews and you start to get that pit in your stomach and that clench in your chest, and you really start, to feel that personally, because I think, been said before, but I always remember in Erin Brockovich, and she's like, business is personal. And especially when you are, working as a healer, you're in the care, doing all of this sort of stuff. This work is deeply personal. It's not just the time away from your family or from your own core. It's you are putting this energy trying to be a caretaker, and so you can take that really personally and internalize it. And you've really got to watch out for your mental health and for your own outlook and your own kind of internal compass. And so if it does get to be too much, make sure you do set it down and at least go do anything else. It's going to be right, and connect. But ultimately, what we were talking about is this is why it can be really great to outsource your review monitoring to companies like Beyond Indigo. And I mean, of course, there's others, but we do this, for a wide range of clients, and it's great, I think, because especially with us, we know the industry, so we know what people are talking about, but we are that nice buffer between all of this and all of this. And so if something comes to our attention that needs your attention or guidance,
right,
we can chat with you about it. We can help you craft these reviews. We can also make sure that you're still seeing the good ones that come through. Just so we can help you identify trends that might be coming up and be like, we're seeing a lot of this, or we're starting to see some mention of that. But it is, I mean, this is an aspect where, working with a marketing company is truly an act of self-care, because it can really protect your mental and emotional well-being and how it affects your day. And then, the care and your interactions with the world from there, right? Your family and everyone else. So, I think that, there's kind of the two things with reviews is a lot of businesses will tend to just let it slide, even though, this is such an excellent opportunity. But then also just remembering that it really can impact you. So you've got to work it into your balance and take care of yourself so it doesn't get you too far up or down the rabbit hole in any direction,
No, balance. I love that word, balance. Well, let's leave it on that note today. Balance. Stay balanced. Keep at it. Be attentive. Be attentive to internal landscaping and what the reviews do to your own internal landscape, but also be aware externally how your brand is affected in the world. So we're here to help. And everybody, this is Kate. She'll be the one helping you. So thank you so much, Kate, and have a great rest of your day.
Yeah, you too. Have a great week, Kelly.
Thanks.
Thank you. Bye-bye.